Hey, Don's fans. I am here with Oakland native Dom Mirolgio, our USF catcher who has won countless WCC awards as well as being a semifinalist for the Johnny Bench Award. Dom, you've been drafted 3 times, once with the Oakland A's, Tampa Bay, finally Arizona Diamondbacks in the 20th round of the 2017 MLB draft. You had a solid debut season for Missoula. You then went on and had a successful season with Visalia to get noticed as a prospect. You had to really shine, and you did. You hit 327, 394, 460 in 312 plate appearances. Just kind of talk about how important those 2 stops were for you.
Well, obviously both were important. And it's funny because you get drafted, you don't know what's going on. You didn't know what to expect. It's funny how little I knew about pro ball, even though I've been playing baseball for as long as I've been playing. So you get thrown into Missoula, and it's just like summer ball, but now you're getting paid. Some organizations handle it differently with older guys because I was 22 when I signed. Sometimes you don't get the best shot, but the Diamondbacks really did give me a great shot, and they kind of jumped me up to high A, which was kind of a big jump from rookie ball in Missoula. A little bit of luck and a little bit of opportunity mixed in there, and I got to play a little more than probably even they had planned for me to play, and it ended up being a good year. And then we just kind of took off from there. So it was fun. It's fun to play in California too. Got to see a lot of family and friends over that year.
Well, let's talk just a little bit about Dalton Varsho. I mean, you two are the top catching prospects for the Diamondbacks. You're playing on the same team, you're roommates, but just talk about that camaraderie and also that competitiveness.
Yeah. And that's something, you're never going to play on a team past high school where you're the only catcher. There's always going to be another guy. And it's always an interesting dynamic in pro ball when you have 2 catchers, especially ones like me and Varsh that we really feel that we can impact a big league team and help them win. And there's really only one spot on the field for the 2 of us. So I think it's a testament to Varsh because he's a really good dude, and he goes about it very professionally. We've gotten along great, which has really made it easier on the both of us. He's one of the more special talents I've ever seen play the game. He's very, very skilled, and very knowledgeable too. He comes from a baseball family, so it's been nice to have somebody to bounce stuff off of, and I know he bounces stuff off me. So he's made it a lot easier on me because it's not always the easiest situation. You can butt heads with another catcher on your team, and it can make for a long year. So it's been nice because we really have kind of come up together at this point. We've played at some point of each year that we've been in pro ball, so it's been nice.
Yeah, well, you've played the last 2 years with the Jackson Generals, minor league baseball team of the Southern League and the Double-A affiliate. And what's interesting is some people have said Miroglio, will likely start season in Double-A, splitting time with Dalton. Miroglio is the more polished defender of the 2, but the biggest area that he needs to develop is the bat. And they were also saying that you have the potential to be a really great backup catcher, or you can be the number 1 catcher. Now, I know you are so competitive. What are you thinking about statements like that, and what drives you to get that number 1 spot?
Well, you know what? Those are obviously articles and reporters that are doing their best, but they don't always know what's going on behind the scenes. But really, none of that really matters to me. I know what I need to work on, and I kind of focus on more tangible things as far as how I'm going to get better. And I'm not thinking backup. I'm not thinking starter. And I know this sounds cliche, but I just need to get to a point where I'm the best catcher and hitter that I can possibly be. And then, things will fall into place. But first and foremost, you can't look too far ahead. Because that's another thing in pro ball that can really just deteriorate you, is trying to figure out the numbers game of like, well, if this guy gets hurt, I'll move up, but I need this, that, and this to happen for me to move up and do this. And really, you just got to focus on yourself and bettering yourself as a player. And trust me, it's way easier said than done. But that's just something I always remind myself.
Well, you told me that you stayed in Arizona because you wanted to get some more reps in, more practice. You wanted to be closer to that. What has it been like, the back and forth, talking about when season will start? Now maybe we have to prolong it,
Sure.
testing, just kind of inform us about that.
Yeah, well, and you know what? As athletes, I've been so structured in my training ever since probably my freshman year of high school, and everything's so thoughtfully planned out. And I need to be ready to do this on this date, and that by another date. And I don't want to say it's aimless training, but for a lot of the coronavirus, I was going to the gym and doing my training and hitting and catching, but you didn't know what you were training for or when. You kind of had to get to a point where you're not doing too much, because you don't want to be doing too much. So then if the season does restart, you burnt yourself out, but you also don't want to do not enough, because then the season starts and you're not ready. So that was probably the hardest part, not only physically, but mentally,
Yeah.
was like, you know, I'm kind of running in circles right now, because I'm just doing the same thing, every single week. And now it's nice to hear that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we kind of have a better idea of what's going on. So it's been tough, like I said, but I'm glad that we're finally, seems like we're going in the right direction.
Well, when you're with a group of guys, and now we know that there is going to be a 60-game season starting July 23rd, 24th, what are some of the things that your club is having you do to be safe? Are you testing every day? Are you wearing masks? What are you doing?
Yeah, so they've really kept the facility shut down tight. I haven't been training at a Diamondbacks facility. I know they plan to test guys very frequently. They encourage guys to keep their bubbles tight off the field. Stay pretty much confined to your homes if you can, just to try and control this thing. Because if people start to get it and it starts to snowball, it could end as soon as it started. So it's people are on edge and trying to figure out how they're going to do this thing. But I think that they have a plan in place that they feel pretty strongly about, and I do too.
Well, tell me just a little about spring training for the Diamondbacks. I saw you take your official picture in your Diamondbacks jersey. So tell me a little bit about what that was like, your experience, any great moments that came out of that.
Well, it is, it's true. Like, when you show up and you have, your name across a big league uniform, it's pretty special, even if it's just spring training. And I had the same experience when I played in the Arizona Fall League, where I got to wear the big league uniform with my name on it. And I know my grandfather would always love to see, our family's last name in the paper. He'd get a kick out whenever, my little league hockey or baseball jerseys had my last name across it. So I always keep that in mind, kind of like what you're saying, when you see pictures of me in a big league uniform. I do the same thing when I see my last name kind of lettered across the back, and I know he's smiling up in heaven whenever that does happen.
Yeah, it'll be nice to actually see your name sports related instead of in architecture, which is
I know. There you go.
a whole Miroglio name. Um,
For sure.
okay, so here's the deal. I hear that you're taking a liking to golf, and all I can think about is Kevin Costner and Tin Cup and the shit.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're a great athlete, but I mean, how is this going for you, the game of golf?
It always sounds better, to say that I'm going to play golf than actually applying it. I tell you, it's so hard. I haven't got to play as much as I've liked because of baseball, but it is a crazy difficult sport. I'd much rather the ball be coming 95 miles an hour at me than just sitting there on the ground, and I just can't figure out why I can't hit this thing. But no, I have a bunch of buddies. I feel like most of the guys that I played at USF with are taking to golf pretty frequently. And then in pro ball, it's definitely, with the downtime we have, it's definitely something that guys like to get into. But yeah, to answer your question, it's a work in progress that I'm not sure I'll ever master.
So Dom, if you find a lot of success in Double A, where does the journey go? Where's the next road?
So now that I'm in Double A, that's kind of that first level where if you start to show real success, people start to take note and feel that you can probably take that to the big league level. And if you start to have success at that level, you start getting looked at for the Rule 5 draft, where maybe it's a situation where the Diamondbacks are stockpiled at catcher. I don't have that opportunity to move up. But if they don't put me on their big league roster, then I'm available to all other teams. Essentially, that's a way so guys don't just get lost in the shuffle of their own organization if they truly can't have an impact at the big league level. So that's the plan: is have success at the AA, AAA level here in the next year or two, and obviously it'd be great to be put on the Diamondbacks big league roster. But if that's not something that they're looking to do, then I'll have the opportunity to be put on a roster elsewhere.
All right. Well, I wish
There.
you the best, Dom. I know you're going to be a huge success, and I can't wait to see where you end up.
Thanks, Katie.